should I do this or this? If I do this, what does it feel like? What is my body telling me? Remember that your body has multidimensional layers, and you'll be connecting to yourself in higher dimensions. You'll be connecting to all your spirit guides, and they will give you a feeling. And your clairsentience is probably stronger than you think. Is it fear talking? Is it the light, meaning coming from you, your higher self, your soul, your spirit guides, your angels, your helpers? Or the third question is, could you have some interference of some kind? Who's your partner guide? Who's the guide who's like, I want you to bring forward my messages because we have a deal that predates your life here. Alpar and I do have a deal. I help people connect to their spirit guides. He helps the galactic beings connect to humans. Welcome to 5D Channels and Chats with Rachel Chamness, featuring trance channels, liquid Reiki shamanic sound healing, living light code transmissions, and conversations for spiritual growth and ascension. Join us at soundwavesheal.com or start with my free Channeling Spirit Guide Foundations course at soundwavesheal.com/start. Hi, everyone, and welcome today to my podcast. And today I wanted to channel Alparabeam, who is my Blue Avian guide, and they call themselves the Cure. So Blue Avian Cure being is how I'm describing him on screen here. So Alpar wants to talk to us about the difference between intuition, fear, and wishful thinking. So I hear a lot of you talking about this. Like, I cannot tell if this is my intuition, if this is my spirit guides, or if it's just me and my wishful thinking. And then how do you tell the opposite? Like, is this a message or is this fear talking? How do you tell? From my perspective, I would say how you tell is through experience of hearing the message or receiving the message and knowing yourself, taking time with that. Like, when I receive a message and it's something I don't want, right? So now the question is it fear or is it a message? Then I'll go into my heart and I'll sit with it and I'll use myself as a human pendulum. A or B. Situation is, when I think of it, is it A or is it B? And then I think about situation A, like, this is, I'm scared to do this. And so, or I don't want to do this, or it's triggering to think about doing this. So when I think about doing this from that I'm receiving from this message, like, go do this thing, let's say, go make this new program or go live on YouTube or something. I don't know, whatever, go start this new thing. All right. So A, does that make me feel scared? Like, is this about being scared about it? Or B, is this about that this is a terrible idea? Do you know what I mean? And like, feel into that. It's the same thing that you can do as if you're like, should I do this or this? If I do this, what does it feel like? What is my body telling me? Remember that your body has multidimensional layers, and you'll be connecting to yourself in higher dimensions. You'll be connecting to all your spirit guides, and they will give you a feeling. And your clairsentience is probably stronger than you think, and your claircognizance. So you can use these two things to, how does that feel? And then go to B, how does that feel? And that's one thing that you can do. Now, if it's something where I'm getting this message, it's like really exciting message, and I hope that it's true, then I would maybe pull some cards or ask my spirit guides. I channel my spirit guides so I can channel them. And that's what it's a really good idea for you to be able to channel your spirit guides, you to be in deep touch with your spirit guides so you can know what they feel like and know what it feels like when you're getting a message from them versus yourself. It does feel different. So that's where I go back to saying that it's a little bit of experience as well. And if you need experience, if you want to learn how to channel your spirit guides, I have some help for that. I have a free channeling spirit guides course, and absolutely free on my website. Soundwavesheal.com/spirit guides is how you can get there. That can help you too. I think that's really important. But honestly, today I brought you here to ask a higher dimensional being. If you don't know who Alparabeam is, he is my spirit guide, partner guide. So what I call a partner guide is the spirit guide who comes forward, who is invested in helping you bring forward messages. So this is a guide that I teach in my methodology teaching, is in level 3 of trance channeling mediumship. So this is like beyond, all your guides, a bunch of different kinds of guides, how to reach all your guides, how to reach any kind of being to bring in messages and healing in levels 1 and 2. Now in 3, what we're talking about is who's your partner guide? Who's the guide who's like, I want you to bring forward my messages because we have a deal that predates your life here. And Alpar and I do have a deal that we help help people channel. And I help people connect to their spirit guides and get their partner guides or whoever to channel. And then he helps the spirit guide, the galactic beings, connect to humans. So he's with a lot of different kinds of galactic beings, and their mission is to help channels on Earth. So we kind of come at it both ways. And the way that I help doesn't have to be a galactic guide, but that's where Alpar and I meet together. And I work with other beings for other things. So anyway, that's just a background. He's a blue avian being is what we call them. And they are stork-like beings, usually with blue feathers, but they can have different colors. There's all different kinds. The ones that we all know about more are the blue avian blue feathers. And so we call them blue avians, but he always says that they call themselves the Kier. I'd love to hear in the comments if you know anything about blue avians, if you have a blue avian being who is a spirit guide to you, or you have an affinity towards them or anything like that. I'd love to hear. So let's ask Alpar these questions and let's see what he says. Okay. Hello, I am Alparabeam. I am very pleased to be here. I'm very pleased to be talking through this channel. And as we are adjusting our connection here, I would love to hear your questions. I will allow this channel to go back and forth. If we can connect on a deep level here, which is what we're adjusting, then it should be easy for us to go back and forth with questions. You are wondering how to tell when your messages are from the light or from your fear. And that is the real question. Is it fear talking? Is it the light, meaning coming from you, your higher self, your soul, your spirit guides, your angels, your helpers? Or the third question is, could you have some interference of some kind? Could you have some psychic interference, an entity in your system, in your auric field, or some psychic implants that are causing you to get things incorrectly? So if you think of your field as clear or not clear, clear would be you are receiving information from your guides, from your higher self, from your heart, from all, and unclear would be that you are experiencing psychic interference of the dark, as you might call it, or of the 4D negative experience on Earth, or from implants or an entity of some kind. And if you are, then you just need to make sure that you are clear. Now, once you are clear, then you only have two questions. Is this from fear or wishful thinking or ego, or is this an actual message from your guides? And that is what we wish to help you with today. And it is true that the more that you do it, the more you will find out, for it is different experience for each person. So how does it feel to you when you get a correct message? You may have signs, you may get chills, you may get information that feels different than your ego. You may have clairaudience and you hear something that is different. So once you are sure that you're clear and you're receiving only from yourself, you're sovereign in yourself, then these are the questions. We feel that it is even harder for you to believe the good thing. So when you receive a message that is all that you ever wanted, which is something that you've always wanted or you always hoped for, and then you receive the information that this is a possible timeline or goal for you, then that can be difficult. And how does it feel when you think of that? For a lot of times, you can go straight on the feeling alone. When you receive that message or you have that thought, maybe I could do this. And what do you feel? Do you feel apprehension or fear that it's a scary thing to do? That is okay. That's just you thinking about something that is scary. That's absolutely okay. That means a good thing. That means it's probably true. Here you are thinking of this possibility, daring to hope. Yes, that's a sign. That feels like this is something I want to do, and I am being pushed towards that direction with my spirit guides. For that is exactly what your spirit guides do. You have the ability to manifest whatever it is that you want, as long as you learn how to do it and you are in control of yourself with sovereignty and you understand law of attraction and you monitor your thoughts to make sure that you are saying the positive thing and you're going towards a positive thing. Then you have the ability to manifest whatever it is you want, and you are at whatever level you are at there and always improving as you learn more and as you take that learning into yourself and learn how to make it work for you for or most of the time, there is that friction between knowing how to do it and implementing it that makes it the difference. So when you receive that message, how do you know it's your ego? Well, there's some very easy ways to discern that as well. If it is your ego, then it may be a feeling of power or importance. If I do this, people will like me. I will be famous. People will look at me and say, that's a person who is something. That's a person who is worth something. Do you see that these things are feeding on your lower self-worth, if that is a problem, which it is for most humans? And this is coming from ego and perhaps an attachment. So this is a different feeling than this would make me feel good. This would make me feel like if I do this, it is something that would be a wish fulfillment. It is something that could help others. It is something that would make me glow and smile and feel great. Do you see how different that is? So if you're feeling the difference of that, if you're hearing it and understanding the difference of that, then you will see that that is two different things. And it's really that simple. Okay. Oh, thank you. Gita says, you're an amazing guide, a woman in service in helping and leading others to see the light and have success. Thank you for your amazing work. That's so sweet. Okay. What true intuitive guidance usually feels like in the body and the energy field? Well, he was kind of talking about that already, but we can ask him a little bit more. He says he can say a little bit more. So let me bring him back in. As I was saying, this can be a good time to have a sign like chills, a confirmation sign from your guides. Maybe you sneeze, you have the chills, you receive some sort of visual sign, or these are ways that you can communicate with your guides and helpers that can show you that this is a yes. And most people have these. And the more that you work with receiving messages and perhaps even saying them out loud, many times when you take that extra step to tell a friend, or perhaps you are a practitioner, so you're giving a message to someone else, then you can start feeling these different sensations in the body. And some of the sensations here in this medium could be chills or even physical body shaking. They could feel like all the receptors or light in her body is increasing or opening. These are specific and yet hard to explain. And so for you, you need to find those different kinds of feelings that help you understand that this could only be a true message. And all of these things I'm saying come through experience of actually working with it, actually speaking to your guides. And if you're just receiving messages willy-nilly, you don't really know how you're taking that further, and so you're at a complete loss of what to believe or what not to believe, then it's time to get to know your guides, get to know at least one guide, get to know at least one messenger guide who can bring you messages, and you can give them or receive them or write them down or say them out loud and see how that is feeling. And that can help you begin. You don't need to start with everything, but start with one small thing. Another thing you can do is learn how to use oracle cards, learn how to use a pendulum, begin to channel. Some very basic channeling can help you very much. And why should you learn this? You should learn this because here you are a light worker in ascension. You don't want to be dependent on others to give you messages all the time. And though it is very helpful to go to a light worker to receive healing, to receive messages outside of yourself, to receive confirmation on what you've been thinking, to receive a deeper answer from a guide than you can hear yourself, this is all beautiful help. And all of you are here to help each other. So it's very important. But also, you don't want to be fully dependent on another person to bring you your information all the time, because you are here to learn to receive that information. And in fact, the beginning work of connecting with your guides and beginning that channel process is part of your ascension and is what everyone should do. If you cannot hear information from your guides, if you cannot receive that first step of communication, then you are going through your life as if you have a blindfold on and you are not using your full capacity. This information that goes through your planet planet about using 10% of your brain is completely 100% false. I wish to never hear another human say they only use 10% of your brain. This is such a ridiculous notion, I can't even begin. You use so much more of your brain like this, and the problem is that there aren't measurements to measure it correctly. For you are, of course, only using what you have, and there is so much more technology, even on your planet and beyond, that can show you more of what your brain is doing. But your brain is not first of all, your brain is doing all kinds of things, and you're using more than 10% of it all the time. And you're using parts of it to connect with your auric and metaphysical field. Your multidimensional reality is connected, and it can be through the brain, because you're using your brain as an interface computer to do all kinds of things in your world. And so you are using your brain, but you are also just using a bit of your brain, and sometimes to connect to this multidimensional version of you. This multidimensional you is connected here. It's a very big part of who you are, no matter who you are. As long as you choose to take this path to ascension, you are a light worker and you are working with the light. And so you shouldn't push against that, and you should welcome in all that spirit is trying to give to you. Do not stand in fear of that, for there is nothing to fear. Anything that you are afraid of, the dark that can attack you or do something to you, well, if you never learn how to defend yourself, then of course this can be a problem. But the problem is not learning. It's when you don't learn that it's a problem. When you do learn how to channel, and you learn how to protect your field with healing abilities, this is how you become a complete channel. It's not channel reader or healer. You must learn to do both so that you can heal yourself to give a good reading, so that you can heal your client when problems come up. And as a healer, you need to give your client some pointers on how to improve their life, or you'll have the same session with them 100 times until you are so sick of it. Do you see how these are not two separate things? They are the same thing. And of course, it is my mission and this medium's mission to let people know that. That is very, very, very important. Okay, it's Rachel. Wow, Alpar in our soapbox. He just got into it. That's like my whole thing. Okay, Annalisa says, I'm just making sure that what Alpar says, if it feels glowing good, then is it true? Yes, that's what he was saying. He was saying, if it feels glowing, it feels like it's going to light you up from inside, and it feels that good, then it's true. It's not about you hoping it's true. And then he was also trying to say that there's really nothing that's like, you want this and you can't have it, that you can do anything. And I'd like to say this, okay? As you know, I was a professional opera singer. So I come from a background of where I was working as an opera singer, and I was working towards trying to have a bigger career, because being an opera singer is an expensive career, and you can do pretty well and still be broke AF, which I totally was. And so I was still doing pretty good, and I was still always trying to get to the next level. And I really wanted to be an opera singer, like since I was 14. And since I could talk, I wanted to be a singer. So I always wanted to be this, but the career itself for me was so miserable, and all the time I was off. I think that in an effort to do some sort of method acting, I was riddled with entities, because I also drank a lot, like a lot. And so I had all these problems. I was drinking and my mind was all over the place. I was ungrounded. I think I had these entities that I thought I was like really doing this method acting, but instead I just had these entities that were like emoting through me. Sometimes the emotion of my acting would get so strong that I couldn't sing well, and I would go off pitch, which was not something, I mean, I was trained beyond that. So it was just like an emotional problem. So I had all these problems, and yet I always felt like I was supposed to sing, like that was my goal. And then when I realized that I could use my voice for healing people, not just some random high C from the opera stage, which I knew healed people and cleared chakras and things like that, but actually help people with my voice to heal them. And when I learned that I could do this sort of mediumship, which I had always in the back of my mind thought, oh, that would be so great if I could do that. That looks so neat. Then everything changed for me, and I realized that my true calling was this. So even if you have some crazy calling, what you feel is crazy, like I wish I could be, a famous bass player. I don't know, whatever it is. There's something to that. There's nothing, even if it feels like there's something that's wholly impossible, you can still do it. It just may look a little bit different. And as you've been seeing, I've been going back to music now, making all this Reiki music, living light code transmissions with my voice, more than the liquid Reiki sound healing. And it feels like such a perfect mix. And it feels like over the past 10 years that I've been doing this work, that it was leading me to this, as well as teaching others how to use their gifts. And it's been a real thing for me. And now when I look at that, I don't have any kind of like, oh, I wish I was singing opera on stage. Like, never. Are you kidding? Like, never. But instead, I feel like, oh, I love doing this work. It lights me up. It's so much fun. And it would be cool to do it on stage. Sure. But I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't ever do that. But I just love doing it. So you see, I didn't know that's what I love to do until I did it. It's that same wish, and it is fulfilled in a way that I didn't know was possible. And so don't give up on anything that you want to do. You can do it. You absolutely can. You can manifest whatever it is you want. It just may look a little bit different, but actually be better in the end. That's my little story there. Okay. All right. Why fear can sound urgent, logical, or convincing. Let's ask Alpar about this. That's exactly it, isn't it? That fear does sound urgent. That fear does sound very convincing. But does it feel good? It doesn't feel good. We'd like to say that your spirit guides do not come in with an urgent, you must do this right this minute, unless you're in danger. And when you're in danger, the way that we step through that boundary is so visceral and goes through your whole body that you will usually just work mostly on instinct. You will walk quickly past that danger zone, or you may turn your car around, or you may do something because your whole body is screaming at you to do something. And that doesn't feel the same as fear talking about something that it wants you to do or not do. So fear feels different. It feels like what ifs. It feels like talking sometimes in your head, talking yourself out of it, or it feels fearful in a way that seems maybe illogical. And when you have this urgency of fear of you gotta do it now, and it doesn't have to do with your safety, sometimes that can be a sign of interference in your field. So again, that's why we start this whole conversation with, you cannot really get an answer until you are sure you are clear. And so spiritual maintenance is so important. You must do this all the time. You must be sure that you're doing some sort of spiritual maintenance, that you're getting some clearing. You can find a partner that you go back and forth clearing each other that you trust, or you can receive sessions from someone you trust. You can do it in any way that you wish. You can go to, there are clearing videos. If you trust the person who's doing them, then that's very important too. But you must do something. You can clear yourself with Reiki. You can do what it is you need to do. It is not that scary of a situation, but you just need to know the difference between being clear and not clear. And learning that kind of discernment is from experiencing what it feels to be very clear and what it feels like when you are not. And once you repeat this cycle enough times, thank you, spirit guides, who will lead you through this process, you will know the difference. Okay, so that's a very good point. And I talk about this a lot. I have a few blog posts about entities and how to tell when you are compromised, when you have an entity, and everybody gets them sometimes. And that's what it feels like. It feels like sometimes like someone's talking, or almost like you're in the back seat and whoever's driving the bus, that is you, is like acting like a crazy person. And you're like watching yourself like, why the hell am I acting this way? Like, this is really dramatic. Like, what is happening? Or you might be like going along and you hear this voice that's saying something horrible, like you should just kill yourself or something. And you're like, oh, why am I thinking these horrible thoughts? What's wrong with me? You have to realize that these are two different beings. This is not you, right? If you're hearing someone else talk and you're like, why am I thinking that? Well, you weren't thinking that because you just heard it and reacted to it, right? Or if you're watching yourself do all this stuff and you're like, why am I acting that way? Well, then the person who's saying, why am I acting that way, is you, and whatever the compromise position of whatever the entity is who is driving the bus pus, just needs to be removed. And regular spiritual cleansing is just important. And, I have lots of things for that. I have the 5D Club, and I have videos on YouTube, and I just think that it should be something that everyone can do. So please do that stuff for you. It only takes time on your end because there's lots of free ways that you can do it, or you can pay for a more personal and deeper session with people as well. Okay, so Alex has a question. Thank you, Alex, for the question. Hey, Alpar, can you talk a little bit about 0-point energy and how to get a more clear answer? Sometimes I wonder if I'm receiving the answer I want, not need. Okay, I did talk about some of that in the beginning, but let's ask him again to just go over the 0-point energy stuff. Okay. This is a very good question because what you need to do is always start at 0. So 0-point energy is another way of saying that your heart is not emotionally involved in the question and answer. So if you are asking questions, let's say with cards or pendulum about your future or about something you want so badly, then sometimes your ability to stay in 0 point on that question is not possible. Unless you can get yourself to a feeling of release, completely releasing where you feel the same way about a yes or a no, you may not be able to get the answer for this for yourself. And that is okay. This is when you can use other types of training you may have, like trance channeling your higher self, trance channeling a guide who can help you if you can release from the situation and go deep into a channel that can help. Or you can utilize your connections with others and have a session with someone or have a partner who trades with you insight questions. Therefore, your friend can ask these questions for you because they can have that 0-point energy. And when you ask questions for others, you're going to want to not think yes, not think no, but think you're asking the question and open to receive the answer. Do not let your head go to yes or no, and allow your pendulum to tell you the truth, or allow that message to come in for you on the card. And this, if you practice it enough, you will see how that works, because you'll see what happens next. And remember, of course, you may never bring the future forward if there's no action that is tied to it. If you tell someone their future, well, you better tell them how they will get there, because there are infinite amounts of timeline futures available to every person right now. And so you must also tell them why that future is connected to them now and how they can work to continue that timeline or to jump onto that timeline to make sure that they get to that future. Of course, you must know this if you are a channel or a reader. And so 0-point energy is basically just having no skin in the game, as I find in this person's head. You will have no care about the answer. And to learn how to get in that place for yourself takes a lot of work. This is Rachel. That's very true. It does take a lot of work to learn how you're going to be able to get into that 0-point energy. And it's very hard for me to do that. I do what he says. If I trance channel my higher self, that is something that where I can get those answers, but it does take me a while to get there. It's not a quick trance channel by any means. I have to do all kinds of stuff, get in the mood, and then I have to go deep and bring out that higher self. But then when I do, I can get a lot of great answers. And that's one way. But a lot of times I just go to Gia Triumphant Hooper, who is my friend, and we have been working on each other for years and years, I think 10 years, and we do insight questions for each other. So she answered a bunch of my insight questions today. I answered a bunch of hers the other day. We do it once a month for each other, and it really helps. And sometimes I just want to have confirmation. I'm pretty sure that I got the right answer for these 4 things for myself, but just to be sure that my ego wasn't involved, what do you get? So you can do it that way as well. So it's really like a combination of working towards it, of practicing and seeing what happens, doing the thing, receiving the information and weighing it. Don't just throw it out at once. Ask yourself those 2 questions. Like I said in the beginning, is it A or is it B? Feeling into it, taking your time to take 5 minutes. It's probably only take you 3, and go deep. Like, what does this feel like? Like, dive deep, like you're going deep into the waters of your emotions and your inner self, and seek the truth there. And that will usually give you the answer. And I think that most of the time we don't do that. that. And that's probably a thing. Like we just want those answers and we want them now. And that's part of our society and our busy lifestyle. And that's okay. But if you can just take that moment to just really go into the answer, release your fear about it, and ask yourself the questions. I like to put my hands on my heart. I feel like if I put my hands on my heart and I see other people do this too, it's like a stronger connection to what's true. And I will put my hands on my heart and I'll really think about it, like, and I'll really analyze, like, what is this feeling? Is this feeling like altruistic? Is this feeling like ego filled? What is this feeling? Is this feeling fear that I can't do it or that doesn't work out for me? Or is this like fear because it's a message that I don't really think that I get any messages filled with fear about doing something. The only thing that I would say, like when he's talking about where your guides give you a message because something's dangerous right in this minute, like don't go near that danger zone, or you got to turn left, or oh my God, you have to do this thing right now. It really is like a full body thing. It's like you can't think of anything else. You're like, oh my God, I'm like shaking. I'm like, we have to do this thing right now. Like we can't go there. We have to go home, or we have to, something like that. Then sure, that's a thing from your guides. But I don't think my guides come in with like, ooh, here's a whole bunch of fear of why you shouldn't do the thing. Like that's not a spirit guide thing. I mean, have you ever experienced that? I'd love to hear in the comments where, your guides came in and it just, so I think we have to really, through experience, we know the difference between what feels like discernment. It's just discernment is a thing where you just trial and error, you learn more, you go deeper, and then you can really learn the difference between all those things. So that's how I would teach it. And of course, Alparabeam has been my partner guide for a long, long time, maybe 8 years. And he gives me so much information that sometimes I feel like it's my information too. So of course we agree because I've been listening to him for 8 years or so. I hope that was helpful and that this helps you get better answers for yourself. And you just have to know your limit. If I'm really worried about my son, then it might be hard for me to come to 0 point to get that answer, right? So I'm going to ask someone else because I'm like scared. Like, is there something wrong with him? Okay, he was getting headaches and I was really, really worried. Like, could it be something worse? And so I asked someone else. It turns out it was his vision. He just needed stronger glasses. But that was something that I was a little too afraid to think about. So I asked someone else to give me the answer and it was very helpful. So there are times when you just need another light worker and that's okay. That's what we're here for, right? We're here to help each other. So thank you so much for coming and I can't wait to see you next week. Okay, bye. If this found you at the right time, please like, subscribe, and join the free community at soundwavesheal.com/school. I'm Rachel Chamness, and I'll see you inside.